What if the very struggle you're trying to destroy is the signal you were born to understand? There is a discovery buried in the work of the great psychologist Carl Jung that reframes everything. Your compulsion is not a random flaw. It is not a simple moral failing. It is a coded message, and it is addressed specifically to you. Most of the world sees addiction as a punishment, a weakness to be condemned and crushed. But Jung glimpsed a terrifying and beautiful truth. This inner fire, this relentless cycle of craving and collapse, is a form of sacred communication. The hunger you cannot silence is not here to break you. It is here to remake you. And this message is only given to those marked for a radical transformation. Do you feel enslaved by a desire you simultaneously hate and need? That painful tension is your first clue. Jung realized that the harder you wage war against this craving, the more you misunderstand its purpose. You are fighting the messenger and missing the message entirely. The storm of your obsession, the guilt after the fall, the quiet despair when you don't recognize yourself. These are not signs of abandonment. They are the moments a deeper intelligence begins its most profound work. Before you judge this part of your life as cursed, consider this: it may be the most intimate dialogue your soul has ever initiated. There is an emptiness within you that no achievement, relationship, or substance can permanently fill. You try again and again. The relief is fleeting, and the void returns louder and hungrier. Jung called this the archetypal thirst. It is ancient, it is spiritual, and your addiction is its raw, clumsy, desperate language. You reach for that drink, that scroll, that rush, not because you are weak-willed, but because you are responding to a call for meaning you haven't yet learned to translate. This thirst is not distributed equally. Many people can sample pleasure without being consumed by it. But you cannot, and that is not your defect. That is your distinction. The very intensity of your craving is evidence of a dormant capacity waiting to be unlocked. Jung observed that those wrestling with addiction, particularly, carried a unique spiritual signature. Their compulsion was never about the object itself, the alcohol, the drug, the behavior. It was a groping in the dark for a transcendent experience, a longing to touch something beyond the mundane world that feels too small, too hollow for the size of your soul. But here lies the cruel twist, the divine paradox. The method you use to answer the call becomes the barrier that blocks it. You seek wholeness through something that fractures you further. You seek escape from pain through a path that deepens the wound. This cycle is not meaningless chaos. It is a precise, if brutal, curriculum. The universe does not speak to everyone through this furnace. But for those it does, the lesson is always the same. What you are desperately seeking outside cannot be found there. You are trying to fill a cosmic emptiness with earthly solutions, and every attempt only makes the whole feel larger. This is where many surrender to the story of being broken. But Jung saw the opposite. The magnitude of your hunger is proportional to the depth of your potential awakening. The thirst that cannot be quenched by any worldly thing is not your life sentence. It is your preparation. It is teaching you the fundamental truth. Nothing out here will ever be enough. Not finally, not completely. And when you stop fighting that truth, When you stop trying to cram the wrong things into that void, a monumental shift begins. The craving changes. It stops being a command to consume and starts becoming a compass pointing inward. But you cannot navigate this while you are at war with yourself. You must first accept that this pattern is not your enemy. It is your most severe and faithful teacher. The thirst will never be satisfied by anything you can hold in your hand. That is the difficult revelation. But the hope is this: it was never supposed to be. The craving is the invitation. Your struggle is the only force powerful enough to make you finally RSVP. You've tried to quit. You've made promises, built systems fallen, and hated yourself for it. Each relapse feels like a certificate of failure, proof you are too far gone. But what if each fall is not a step backward? What if it is a necessary descent? Jung called this the encounter with the shadow. This is the part of you that you exile. The shame, the rage, the neediness, the parts you disown and hide. Addiction has a way of dredging all of it to the surface. Every collapse forces a confrontation with a truth you've spent a lifetime avoiding. The addict cannot hide behind polite masks forever. The struggle strips you bare. And that is the entire point. Most people live entire lives without ever meeting their true selves. But you, the one marked by this fire, do not have that luxury. You are forced into the depths. In every myth, the hero must journey to the underworld before claiming their throne. Your addiction is your underworld. Every relapse is another step into that territory, another layer of illusion burned away. It feels like death, because it is a kind of death. The death of the person you thought you were, so the person you are meant to be can emerge. The falling has a pattern, a rhythm. Rise with hope, fall with shame. Rise with resolve, fall with despair. Each cycle imparts a crucial lesson. You cannot do this through willpower alone. Your strength, which has conquered so much, is useless here. In fact, it fuels the trap. The harder you fight, the tighter the chains become. So you must learn a different kind of strength. Not the strength of resistance, but the strength of surrender. This does not mean giving up. It means admitting you are facing something beyond your ego's management. It means going down, not up, further into the unknown within. Those who find freedom from this cycle do not do so by conquering their shadow. They do so by inviting it in for tea. They integrate it. They stop fighting the fall and start learning from it. Each collapse is a data point, a gift of brutal clarity about why you run, what you fear, what you truly lack. The path is not linear. It is a spiral, going down into the core of the wound and back up again and again until you reach the center. And at the center, you do not find a substance or a secret. You find the self that was forged by the entire journey. There is a silent witness inside you. It observes every secret, every rationalization, every hidden compromise. This is your shadow. It grows stronger with every truth you deny. Your addiction draws its power from this buried territory. The pain you ignore, the anger you swallow, the desires you call shameful, they all live there. You think your compulsion is about a lack of control. Jung proposed it is actually your shadow's violent attempt to be seen. It is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to get your attention. Because what you refuse to acknowledge in the light will control you from the dark. Every urge carries a dispatch from this exiled self. When you reach for your coping mechanism, you are not just seeking relief. You are obeying a part of you that holds truths you're terrified to admit. Most people can keep their shadows quiet with distractions and business. You were not given that grace. Your shadow is too loud, too demanding. That is why this feels so overwhelming. It's not a bad habit, it's a civil war. And the war only ends when you stop firing on your own troops. The revolutionary insight is this: you cannot kill your shadow. You cannot pray it away or shame it away. The only path is integration. You must turn and face what you've been running from. This takes a courage most will never need. You will see the monster you feared you were. You will meet the aspect society told you to disown. In that moment, you choose reject it again and fall deeper, or accept it and begin the alchemy. You were given this burden because you have the capacity to carry it. When you stop running and finally turn around, something miraculous happens. The shadow does not obliterate you. It reveals hidden strengths, authentic powers, and a truth you were afraid to live. Addiction only has power when you are divided. When your conscious mind says no, and your shadow screams yes. This internal conflict is exhausting, and the pattern feeds on that exhaustion. Peace comes not from victory, but from ceasefire, from integration. Jung taught that the goal is not saintly perfection, it is wholeness. Embracing the full spectrum of your humanity, light and dark. This is what it means to become real. This is the education your struggle is providing. The promise is always a lie. The bottle offers peace but delivers turmoil. The scroll offers connection but delivers isolation. You know this? There's a flash of relief. Then the emptiness returns, compounded by guilt. This isn't an accident. It's by design, because the object of your craving is a decoy. You are not searching for a substance. You are searching for the sacred. You are looking for transcendence in a place it cannot live. The direction is wrong, but the impulse is holy. You sense there is more to existence, and you will do anything, even destroy yourself, to touch it. This is why easy answers fail. Just stop doesn't work because this isn't about the thing. It's about what the thing symbolizes: connection, peace, meaning, God. When you engage in the behavior, you are not just doing the thing. You are trying to dissolve the walls between you and the infinite. Jung saw this in everyone he worked with. They were not defective. They were spiritually starving in a world that serves plastic food. They were seeking the divine in all the wrong places because no one showed them where to look. The great tragedy and the great clue is that it will never work. You can drink an ocean and remain thirsty. This endless dissatisfaction is not a curse. It is the whisper of your calling. Your inability to be content with ordinary pleasures is evidence you are built for an extraordinary relationship with life. The addict is often closer to God, not despite their hunger, but because of it. They cannot accept the shallow answers. The transformation begins when you stop obeying the craving and start interrogating it. Pause. Ask, what do I truly believe this will give me right now? And where can I actually find that? In this pause, the addiction changes roles. From warden to guide, the urge becomes a signal flare, highlighting an unmet need, an unhealed scar. You learn to distinguish the surface want from the deep need. What you crave is not what you need, but the craving. Decoded is the exact map to where that need lives within you. And when you start giving your soul what it actually requires, the craving loosens its grip. It becomes less desperate because you're no longer using a material solution for a spiritual problem. There is a wound in you that never fully heals. You've bandaged it, numbed it, decorated it with successes, but it remains. Jung understood that some wounds are not meant to close. They are sacred wounds, deliberate marks on souls chosen for a specific service. Your addiction is the guard stationed at the door of this wound, forcing you to return to it over and over. Most people have pain, but for you it is constitutive. It shapes you. This is the price of the calling. The sacred wound and your addiction are in partnership. One triggers the other in a loop that feels inescapable. But the wound is not your foe. It is your deepest source of intelligence. Every time it aches, it is trying to show you your purpose. The deepest wounds create the deepest empathy. The person who has never known abandonment cannot truly comfort the abandoned. But you can. Your pain has granted you access to realms of human experience that become your territory of service. Your wound is not meaningless. It is preparation. Every dark night was training. But you cannot access this power while you're at war with your own hurt. True healing is not the wound disappearing. It is you changing your relationship to it, seeing it not as a weakness, but as the source of your unique strength. The wound that won't close becomes a channel, a conduit for grace to flow through you to others. Your addiction has been a coping mechanism, a shield against the overwhelming truth of this wound. Maybe it was necessary for a season, but eventually the protector becomes the jailer. When you're ready, when the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of facing it, you turn toward the wound, not with hatred, but with curiosity. What are you here to teach me? In that turn, everything changes. The wound becomes less about your personal suffering and more about your universal connection. It becomes the well from which you draw compassion. This is why the chosen ones walk this path. Only those who have been in the deepest dark can guide others through it. Only those who have carried a sacred wound can show others that brokenness is not the end of the story, but the condition for a new beginning. So now you see. The unquenchable thirst taught you that the world is not enough. The repeated falls were a descent to your truest self. The shadow was a guide in disguise. The craving was a map to a holy hunger. The wound that wouldn't heal is now the opening through which your purpose emerges. Your struggle was never the enemy. It was the messenger. You were chosen not for a life of ease, but for a journey of radical transformation. Every moment of suffering was forging something unbreakable within you. The conversation continues. But now, you are finally learning the language. And the first word you understand is your own name. If this truth resonates with you, help this message reach others who need to hear it. Like this video and share it with someone it might speak to. For more content to fuel your awakening, subscribe to Wake and Win.